Tonight, while you are sleeping, something extraordinary is either happening inside your body or it is being completely missed. Your heart, which has been beating tirelessly for every single minute of your life, enters a critical window during the night. A window where it either repairs itself, strengthens itself, and prepares itself for another day, or it struggles in silence, starved of the specific nutrients it desperately needs to do that work. And the shocking truth is this: what you eat in the hours before you go to sleep determines almost everything about which of those two realities your heart experiences tonight. Most people have no idea this window even exists. Most people eat dinner, watch television, go to bed, and never once think about what their heart needs from them while they sleep. But after watching this video, you will never think about your evenings the same way again.
My name is Dr. Kame William, and I have spent over 2 decades studying cardiovascular nutrition, the relationship between what we eat and how our heart functions, repairs, and ages. And in all those years, one of the most consistent and powerful discoveries I have made, and one of the least talked about in mainstream medicine, is the profound importance of nighttime nutrition for heart health. Not what you eat at breakfast, not your lunch, the specific foods and nutrients you consume in the evening hours, before sleep, that your heart uses during the night to do its most important repair work. Tonight, I'm going to share that with you, all of it, because you deserve to know. Let me start with a man named David. He was 54 years old, an engineer, fit-looking, non-smoker, moderate drinker. He came to me not because he had any alarming symptoms, but because his father had died of a heart attack at 58, and he was terrified of the same fate. His cholesterol numbers were borderline. His blood pressure was slightly elevated in the mornings, and when I asked him to walk me through everything he ate in a typical day, everything was reasonable until we got to the evenings. David's evenings were white bread, processed cheese, a bag of crisps, and occasionally a bowl of ice cream while watching television before bed. No vegetables, no healthy fats, no magnesium, no potassium, no antioxidants, just processed, inflammatory food sitting in his stomach while he slept, and his heart, in that critical overnight repair window, had essentially nothing useful to work with every single night. Here is what most people do not understand about sleep and the heart. When you fall into deep sleep, particularly in the first few hours of the night, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your cardiovascular system enters what researchers call the repair phase. During this phase, your body releases growth hormone, which triggers cellular repair throughout the body, including in the heart muscle and the inner lining of the arteries, the endothelium. The endothelium is a single-cell thin layer lining every blood vessel in your body, and it is the first line of defense against arterial disease, plaque formation, and blood clots. Every day, through stress and inflammation and oxidative damage, this lining sustains microscopic injuries, and every night during deep sleep, your body attempts to repair those injuries. But, and this is the critical point, it can only do that repair work if the raw materials are available. The specific nutrients, antioxidants and compounds that the body uses to rebuild endothelial cells, reduce arterial inflammation, and support heart muscle recovery. If those nutrients are not in your system when you go to sleep, the repair work is incomplete. Night after night, year after year, incomplete repair. And incomplete repair is how cardiovascular disease silently builds. So what are those nutrients? What are the specific foods that give your heart what it needs during the night? Let us go through them one by one, and I want you to think about whether any of these are currently part of your evening routine. Because if they are not, every single night is a missed opportunity for your heart. The first and perhaps most powerful nighttime heart food is the humble walnut. I know you were expecting something exotic or expensive, but walnuts are one of the most extensively researched cardiovascular foods on the planet, and their specific benefit during the nighttime window is extraordinary. Walnuts are one of the very few plant foods rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3 fatty acids are the primary building material the body uses to repair and maintain the endothelial lining of blood vessels. When you eat a small handful of walnuts in the evening, say 30 to 40 grams, about a small palm-sized amount, those omega-3 fatty acids are circulating in your bloodstream precisely during the hours when your body is attempting endothelial repair. The timing is not incidental, it is everything. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that regular walnut consumption reduces LDL cholesterol, lowers inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein, and improves arterial flexibility, all of the key cardiovascular risk factors, with particularly strong effects when walnuts are consumed in the evening hours. Walnuts also contain melatonin, yes, the sleep hormone, in meaningful quantities, which means they simultaneously support better sleep quality, deeper sleep cycles, and more effective overnight cardiovascular repair. A small handful of walnuts before bed. That is it. That is the change that could matter more than you think. The second nighttime heart food is dark leafy greens, and specifically, their relationship to nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is perhaps the most important molecule for cardiovascular health that most people have never heard of. It is produced by the endothelial cells lining your arteries, and its primary job is to signal the arterial walls to relax and widen, a process called vasodilation. When nitric oxide production is high, blood flows easily through flexible, relaxed arteries. Blood pressure is lower, the heart works less hard, clotting risk is reduced. When nitric oxide production is low, which happens with poor diet, aging, and inflammation, arteries become stiffer, blood pressure rises, and the heart strains against narrowed, inflexible vessels. Dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard, are extraordinarily rich in dietary nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide. Consuming a serving of dark leafy greens in the evening means that nitrate conversion and nitric oxide production is occurring precisely during the overnight hours, when your arteries are most receptive to vasodilation signals. Research from University College London showed that just 1 week of daily leafy green consumption produced measurable reductions in blood pressure and significant improvements in arterial flexibility. And the effect was strongest in people who consumed their greens in the later part of the day, a small salad in the evening, spinach in an omelette at dinner, arugula on the side. It sounds almost criminally simple for the cardiovascular benefit it delivers. The third food is one that surprises almost every patient I share it with: tart cherries, or tart cherry juice. Tart cherries contain one of the highest concentrations of anthocyanins, powerful antioxidant compounds, of any food on Earth. Anthocyanins are direct potent scavengers of free radicals, the unstable molecules that cause oxidative damage to arterial walls and trigger the inflammatory cascade that leads to atherosclerosis. But tart cherries have a second cardiovascular gift that is completely unique to them. They are one of the richest natural sources of melatonin of any food. Not supplements, not pills, real food-sourced melatonin, along with the anthocyanins and anti-inflammatory compounds that work synergistically with it. Research from Northumbria University showed that tart cherry juice consumed in the evening significantly improved both sleep quality and sleep duration, and the cardiovascular implications of that are enormous. Every additional hour of deep quality sleep represents more time in the repair phase for your heart, more endothelial repair, more inflammatory clearance, more arterial recovery. A small glass of tart cherry juice in the evening, diluted with water if preferred, is one of the simplest, most evidence-backed additions to a heart-protective evening routine that exists. Now let us talk about magnesium, because magnesium deficiency is one of the most widespread and most dangerous nutritional deficiencies in the modern world, and its relationship to heart health during sleep is critical. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic processes in the human body. It is involved in regulating heart rhythm, maintaining normal blood pressure, supporting arterial muscle relaxation, and, critically, it is the primary cofactor for the enzyme that produces nitric oxide. Without adequate magnesium, nitric oxide production is impaired regardless of how many leafy greens you eat. Magnesium also directly regulates the electrical signals that control your heartbeat. Magnesium deficiency is one of the leading causes of cardiac arrhythmia, irregular heartbeat, and it is alarmingly common. Studies suggest that up to 45% of people in Western countries have suboptimal magnesium levels, and magnesium is used up faster during periods of stress, which means that many of the people most at risk of cardiovascular disease are also the most magnesium depleted. Foods rich in magnesium that are ideal for evening consumption include pumpkin seeds, which are also rich in zinc and heart-healthy fats, dark chocolate, with a minimum of 70% cocoa content, almonds and avocado, a small square of dark chocolate, a handful of pumpkin seeds, half an avocado on whole grain toast. These are not difficult. These are not expensive. These are the evening foods that give your heart the magnesium it needs to maintain its rhythm, relax its vessels, and do its repair work while you sleep. I want to come back to David for a moment, because after our first consultation, after I walked him through everything I have just shared with you, he made a commitment. He changed his evening eating habits completely. Walnuts before bed, a small dark leafy green salad with dinner, tart cherry juice, pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate. He stopped the white bread and processed cheese. He stopped the crisps and the ice cream. Nothing else changed. Same exercise routine, same work schedule, same stress levels, just the evening nutrition. And at his 6-month follow-up, his LDL cholesterol had dropped by 18 points. His morning blood pressure readings had fallen by an average of 11 points systolic. His C-reactive protein, the inflammatory marker most predictive of cardiovascular events, had reduced by 23%. His doctor, who knew nothing about the changes David had made, looked at his blood work and asked him what medication he had started. He said, "No medication, just walnuts and dark chocolate before bed." There is one more food I need to tell you about before we close, and this one has a history that stretches back thousands of years across cultures that had some of the lowest rates of heart disease ever recorded. Garlic. Specifically, raw garlic or aged garlic extract consumed in the evening. Garlic contains allicin, a compound that forms when garlic is crushed or chopped, and allicin has been shown in dozens of published studies to reduce blood pressure, lower LDL cholesterol, reduce arterial stiffness, and inhibit platelet aggregation, meaning it reduces the tendency of blood to form dangerous clots. The mechanism is partly through nitric oxide pathway activation and partly through direct anti-inflammatory effects on arterial walls. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of Nutrition, analyzing 39 separate studies, concluded that regular garlic consumption produced clinically significant reductions in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, effects comparable in magnitude to some blood pressure medications. 1 to 2 cloves of raw garlic with evening dinner, or aged garlic extract supplement if raw garlic is too strong, consumed consistently over weeks and months, produces cardiovascular benefits that are real, measurable, and evidence-based. Now I want to address something important. Some of you watching this are thinking, I already eat some of these foods, and that is wonderful. But the key word here is consistency and timing. It is not enough to eat walnuts occasionally or to have spinach once a week. The cardiovascular repair work that happens during sleep is a nightly process. It happens every night, whether you have given your body the tools to do it properly or not, and the cumulative benefit of consistently providing those tools, of giving your heart what it needs during the repair window, night after night, for months and years, is the difference between arteries that age well and arteries that don't, between a heart that strengthens over time and a heart that quietly deteriorates. This is not dramatic or sudden. It is quiet, gradual, cumulative. Just like the damage of consistently poor evening nutrition is quiet, gradual, and cumulative. The difference is that one direction leads toward health and the other leads toward disease. I want to say one final thing about David. 2 years after that first consultation, he sat across from me at his annual checkup, and he said something I will never forget. He said, I used to think taking care of my heart meant going to the gym or taking a pill. I had no idea that the most important thing I could do for my heart happened while I was asleep, and the saddest part, he said, is that I wasted decades not knowing this. You don't have to waste another night. Your heart is working for you right now in this moment, and tonight it will work for you again. While you sleep, give it what it needs: a handful of walnuts, a dark green salad, a small glass of tart cherry juice, a square of dark chocolate, a clove of garlic with your dinner. These are not sacrifices. These are gifts. Gifts to the most faithful muscle in your body. Starting tonight. If this video reached you and changed the way you think about your evenings, please share it with someone you care about. Their heart is sleeping tonight too, and now you know something that could change what happens to it while it does. I am Dr. Kame William. Take care of your heart. It has never stopped taking care of you.